Good morning, beautiful people of the world. Good morning. It is Thursday, October 2nd. Yeah, October 2nd, 2025. How you guys doing? It's a throwback kind of a day. It's Throwback Thursday. Throwback Thursday. Oh, I can't believe we're already in the month of October. But we are. Praise God. Praise God. Just took the garbage out. Chris was supposed to come home with me last night, but my uncle has a doctor's appointment, so my mother had to take him, so he had to spend the night over there with her. And so yeah, I had to take the garbage out this morning. It's dark out here, but I had to get it out of here. So that's what you gotta do. You gotta do what you gotta do. One more day, y'all. One more day. One more day. And it will be Friday. Oh, Lord. I am excited about Friday. I am excited about it. I thank God that He allowed me to see another day. A day that I have never seen and a day that I will never see again. But I give Him all glory, honor, and praise. My ear. You know, I told you all I stopped taking the antibiotics twice a day because my stomach just could not handle that. So I am taking them every day. I am doing that. Cannot see behind this truck. I am taking them every day. I'm going to try today to take them twice a day. I'm taking one every day, but I've skipped that twice a day. I can't, they don't do well with my stomach taking them twice a day. And I'm telling y'all, the pills are so damn big. Whew, talk about a horse pill. But it is what it is. But it don't feel as tight, but I still have this. I still have this in my ear where I cannot hear, and it's not clear like over here. You know what I mean? It's just, I don't know. It's not clear. And to be honest, I'm not gonna claim this or say this. This has gone on so long, I feel as though it's just not going to ever be back to the way that it was. But he did say that it takes 6 weeks for a complete healing, even after you have finished all medication. So we're probably talking like November, December, somewhere around there. And I hope before then. Yeah, so that's where we are. I wanted to give you all an update about the test. So you all know I went to the test yesterday for a new job, a new position. Same company, just different department. It was interesting. I can't really say that it was hard, because it wasn't hard. So it's a pass-fail. That's what it is. Either you pass it or you fail it. So she said in 2 weeks, we will get an email letting us know. Now, the last time I took this test, I got no email saying that I had passed or failed. And if I did get it, I missed it because, as I told you all, my father passed shortly after that. This test was totally different than the other one. This test was on a computer. You had to do everything on a computer. The other test was paper. Had your piece of paper and you had to actually fill in the questions. But that was in 2016. We in 2025. So, of course, you know, things have evolved. But they asked you questions like building, like permits, like how, if there was a permit, how long, what would be, like for instance, if the permit expired, how many days would would the company be allowed an extension? Stuff like that I didn't know. So I guess I just, you know, I read the question over and over again a couple of times. I looked at the answers and I just went by what I thought. There were some questions on there that pertain to the job that I have now. And I was able to answer those because I knew that. Like cutting, like cut saw, we do that in my department as well. So I knew that, even though I haven't worked on a lot of construction jobs here, I still knew the answers. So I knew that. And then it asked you about, it was a couple of questions, about maybe 9 questions, which I thought was a lot pertaining to permits. So again, I just used what I thought, honestly. Some things I kind of like was thinking, like, if you didn't work in that department, if you're not familiar with permits, you know, you were basically guessing. So then the next set of questions was about, there was a graph. In Chicago, if you don't live in Chicago, we have 50 wards in Chicago. We have the first ward to the 50th ward. So in that chart, it asked you about what ward had more curb or more concrete pours than others. So you had to look in this chart. And then the chart, she told us this, she gave us for a warning. She said, when you get to questions 21 through 25, you're going to have to hit the control button and hit the mouse and make it zoom up. So that was interesting. So you had to look for that. And even with zooming up or zooming in, I could see the numbers. You know, I could see the numbers. So I was just like, get over. What you doing? How you all the way over here in my lane? What the fuck is wrong with people? I'm driving straight. He's all over here. Then he cuts in front of me. Stupid motherfucker. Obviously, you don't know how to drive, dumb. Fucking idiot. Just how your car get towed up on dumb shit. Oh. Anyway, what the fuck was I saying? Fuck off. So yeah, you had to look in the graph, and you had to figure out like different things, different numbers, you know, in that graph. You know what I mean? So it was kind of like, that to me wasn't hard. Then they had a question on there that was Miss Lee A. So Miss Lee, you dumb as a fuck. Know how to drive, stupid bitch. Anyway, so you had to look. I ain't trying to get my car towed up. I know it's old, it's dirt, but it's mine. And I ain't put too much money in this motherfucker. I ain't trying to get it towed up over some stupid bitch that don't know how to stay in her goddamn lane. Anyway, so they asked you what ward had a higher, what was it, like what ward had the most highest pours during the month of such and such. So again, you had to look in the graph and kind of figure that out, so it was basically, looking at everything and knowing what was what, pretty much, so that's how you had to do it, and it was multiple choice, so you did have answers, you had choices to choose from. I called her over to the test 3 times because it was hard to figure out like different things on the test that you had to choose from or you had to pick from. So you had to like really, really look. You know what I'm saying? Stupid bitch. She's gonna look over here at me. I want to see what she looked like. Dumbass. So like I said, it was multiple choice, and that was pretty good. I was glad that it was multiple choice, and it wasn't no math. It basically was just you figuring it out by you looking at the charts and looking at the graphs, So that was I was glad about that. It wasn't like no math on it or anything like that. So it was just basically you trying to figure out what was what belonged here, what belonged, like that. But everybody came out of there. The people that I knew and some other people that I knew, everybody was like, "This is a weird test." It was like, "How would we know that? We ain't never did the job." I said, "They still got to train you if you take the job." So I don't know. I'll just say this. I didn't feel 100% confident that I passed it. I'm gonna just be honest. I did not. But at the same time, I was like, okay, I know some of this stuff. You know what I'm saying? So, I don't know. I don't really know how to be honest with you, I don't really know how I feel about it. I don't feel like I did horrible, but like I said, it's a pass-fail. So you don't even know what test you get, what test you're gonna get, nothing. But when they was asking about them permits, I was just like, shit, I don't know this because I ain't never worked in Department of Concrete. You know what I'm saying? So, I don't know. But it was 35 questions, and we had 80 minutes to take the test, and there was a timer up top. So the timer let you know how long you had, and I finished it before the 80 minutes. I finished it in 57 minutes. No, 67 minutes. So, but it was like no way to know that. And then they didn't give you anything, like, they didn't give you anything to study. So, again, you wouldn't have known. You just wouldn't have known, So, I don't know, y'all. I don't know. So I guess the person who actually passes the test person that I guess they're going to consider hiring. They made you turn your phones off completely because they didn't want you looking at your phone. But it was a small room, and it was no kind of way for you to cheat, honestly, because they were in the room, and it was a small room. Everybody had their own computer. They had these, like those partitions. They had the partition between you and the other person that you were sitting next to. So you couldn't even look on that person's computer and see what answers they was choosing. None of that, I just was like, it is what it is. I mean, I'm not, the first thing is that it's not like it's more money than what I make. That's number one. It's the same money. Number two, what's the number two? The number two is, one thing I know, that job would be more responsibility, and it would probably be a little bit more stressful, and I could do it. I know I could do it based on what I was just reading for the job description, and just based on what I was reading, taking the test. I could do it. I have a lot of confidence in myself that I could do it. I'm an office type person. I've gotten a little spoiled with this job because I'm out, I'm driving, I go to the addresses that I go to. I have a lot of freedom. I don't really have nobody like breathing down my neck, except for when there's certain things that they need to have done. Like when I had to go find these plates. Plates are these things, I know you all see them in the street. We put the plates over a hole that we've cut concrete, a sidewalk, and we cut, and then they go down and they put the poles up underground, and then we put the plate over so cars can drive over them so the car won't fall in the hole. And then concrete comes, the job that I'm talking about, concrete comes, and then they pour, and they put it back together. So we put the plates. So we have a lot of plates out here on the streets that we're unaccountable for, because we have so many plates. Like we got 75 plates. And if you have 4 or 5 crews doing the same, similar in construction doing the same, because we have construction and small gangs. That's how the department works. So construction is the one who cut and dig. Small gangs are the ones who go out and actually fix every pole. We have a lot of accidents in Chicago. People knock these poles down, so forth and so on. And like that. So in the sign division, which is where I had, and should have went, in the sign division, just like they have me to go find the small gang poles, they have somebody to go find their little poles, the little sign poles with the arrow saying you can't park this far up and this far back. They have somebody to go pick up their poles. I see a lot of their poles down, a lot, but because that's not my job, I don't report them, because they have a person to go out and pick up their poles, and they literally have to go pick them up and put them in their van. I don't, because the poles that I go look for, it's no way that I can pick those up, and they don't want me to bring them back in anyway. They just want me to go find them. So they give, that's what I do. So the plates, they had all of these plates that we could not find. So we had to go. Well, I didn't do it. The other guy who works in the labor's office, he had to go back through all the jobs, and then he gave me a list. He said, "Cece, I need you to go find 15 of these plates." I'm like, all right. So he gave me the list, and he said, this is where they should be. And then on our plates, so we'll know that they're ours and not another construction company that's hired by the state of Illinois. We write on our plates DEO, which is the Department of Electrical Operations. So I know that those were our plates. So he gives me a list and he said, I need to, well, he was like, I need you to go find these plates. And then he was letting me know, like, you know, I know you got to go find the poles too, but I need you to do this like ASAP. So I did, and I found them all. And then I took a picture of them. And then when I would find them and take the picture of them, then I had to text the picture, the address, the picture of where it was. So I had to take like 4 pictures. They didn't tell me to do this, but I did. But then when they saw my pictures, they was like, oh, we appreciate that, because I did landmarks, like, you know, it's in front of CVS Pharmacy or it's in front of Walgreens. So I did a landmark so they would know. So I took the pictures off of my phone. I've been asking them for a city phone. I ain't asked them about it lately, but one while they were supposed to give me a city phone because I was finding a lot of poles and I would have to take pictures of them. Okay, but y'all having me use my phone, why I can't get, you know, a company phone. So I don't know what happened with that, but I didn't insist that because it takes them so long to do any and every little thing around here. So anyway, I took the pictures of the plates, and why you ain't going? I don't understand this. Ain't nothing coming. Now you want to go. Should have been and went. Why you gonna go now that I'm going? You sat there all that time when nothing coming. You could have turned. Some dumbass people. So that's what I had to do. So I had to go find them. So I went and found them, and then they knew where they were because they couldn't find them. Because, you know, they'll leave stuff. They'll leave a job open, and, you know, so it'd be stuff like that. That's basically what they have me doing. And as I said, you know, I have the freedom of hold on. Let me go punch. Oh. Ooh. All right. Whew. My foot is really, really hurting. So I go and I find those plates. So that was something that needed to be done. They was like, it's a priority. We need you to find them. So I did. So I haven't had that project lately. But they use me. When I say use me, they have me doing a little bit of everything. They have me take people downtown to get their IDs. They have me take people downtown for hearings. They have me go get the commissioner's business cards. It's all types of errands. They give me things. They have crews that work way up north. They'll give me paperwork that I got to take it to a labor or a lineman. So I'm the runner, in all aspects, and I don't mind. Okay, where you want me to go? What's the address? Put it in my phone. I roll out. So the difference with the other job is that I would be in the office and I would have tons more responsibility. So of course the guys here yesterday was like, why you want to leave? Why you want to leave? Don't leave. Don't leave. You got it made right now. Don't leave. I'm like, yeah, but I'm like, yeah. I said, but who's to say that it won't change? And I was telling them, I said, I'm too old to be climbing up and down off trucks. I said, my body is I don't have the stamina for that. I ain't did all that. I ain't trying to do that type of work no more. It was like, you ain't gonna have to do that. They ain't gonna make you do that. Y'all don't know. Y'all ain't the foremen. They ain't pulled it so many times. Just don't want to do. I don't want to do no more work like that. I just don't. I've done it, did it. I'm not interested in. I'm not interested in that kind of work no more. And that's why I told them, don't call me for overtime. Not that I don't need it. You understand what I'm saying? I need it, but I don't want to do that. I don't want to do it. I just don't. Let's say, wait a minute now. I'm gonna put this money in here. Here we go. I knew I had a little change, a charge. So it wasn't bad. It wasn't a bad test. It just was a little confusing. And like I said, if you didn't know that stuff, you was just gonna be SOL. So it was 7 of us that took the test yesterday. It was 7 of us. It was 2 guys, Hispanic, me, Deanna, 2 other black girls. No, I'm sorry. Me, Deanna, girl from Concrete, the other guy. It was 4 black girls, black women, and one white girl that I used to work with down here in Pay. So the people that I knew was these 2 girls and 1 guy. So 4 of us, just from this department that is linked together, 4 of us went to take the test. The other 3 people, I didn't know who they were, but we ended up talking to them, and they work in this department too, but in another They work for the same company in my same department. Because see, this department has so many divisions, so many other little departments. It's hard to explain. But they work in concrete too. But they're laborers like me. So, and I would think that because they work in concrete, that they would know that stuff. But the guy said, I ain't know nothing about no permit. He said, I've been in concrete for a while. He said, I don't deal with that. I said, right, you're right. I said, because you're a laborer. Why would you deal with anything about permits? Why would you deal with anything about wards? You know what I'm saying? So it was, the questions that they asked were kind of, the only way you could answer those questions is if you had did a dispatcher or some type of job in concrete. If you didn't, it was no way of you knowing it. So it's just basically you just like I said, some things I was able to find on the chart that was right there. So I don't know. I just don't know. But we'll see in 2 weeks. I'll let you all know if I pass or fail. I mean, you know, it is what it is. So I'm glad that's over with, because that was something that I wasn't stressing about it, but I was thinking about it a lot. Like, what is going to be on this test? What is going to be on this test? I was thinking about it a lot. But I don't know. But they, all the guys here, like, you shouldn't leave. You shouldn't leave. Why are you leaving? Why are you trying to leave? They was like, ain't nobody bothering you. Ain't nobody bothering you. Don't leave. I'm like, yeah. So, I need to pour some more in here. I used all of this. I don't know, y'all. I don't know. What would you do? Would you stay where you are, or would you go on and get another position? My only thing with this position, this other position that I took a test for, it's just that it's the same amount of money. It's the same amount of money. I wish if it was more, I would be more inclined to be like, oh, I hope I did good, because I really want it, because I need more money. But it's the same pay, the exact same pay that I make right now. And I'm like, do I want to go to another department and have more responsibilities for the same amount of money? Or do I go to another department and have more responsibilities and more money? You know what I mean? So that's my toss up with that. And I think that it took them so long to call us, because that was the issue. I think they had other people that tested for it and other people that they offered it to. And I guess they were like, what's the incentive? We're going to have more work with the same amount of money. If I'm going to have more work, I want more money. And that's how I look at it. If I'm going to have more work and more responsibility, I want more money. I make good money now, but I made $51 an hour. And this job paid $51, the same amount. 50, I think it's $51.50, something like that. I don't know. But you know, if you were making $51.50 in this day and age, and the economy was not like it was, if a mortgage, rent, groceries, utilities, cars, car notes, taxes, all of that stuff wasn't as high as it is, you could really, really make it off of $51 an hour. And don't get me wrong, I'm making it, but I'm still living paycheck to paycheck, like millions of people in America that make good money, but everything is high. Your house note, your rent. I was on somebody's live on TikTok. It was a guy. And he, you know, some people have a problem with gay guys getting on live, or guys, period, whether they're gay or not, putting on makeup. I perfectly don't care about it. I'm into makeup. I just want to see how, and these brothers can lay some makeup, okay? I'm very impressed. But a lot of them are makeup artists too. They make up other people. So I was listening to him, and he was saying that he lived in New Jersey, I think. And he said his rent is $2,100, and I'm like, I said, and so I typed in, your rent is $2,100. He said, yeah, I have a He was talking about the amenities, but the amenities that he was talking about wasn't no store, wasn't no gym, wasn't no swimming pool, wasn't no. He said he got a balcony apartment. Okay, and he said something else. I think they have a washer and dryer in the apartment. Okay, that's good. There ain't no Starbucks downstairs. I mean, I'm like $2,100. I said, I paid that in mortgage. And he was like, really? We were talking, you know how y'all type to me in live? That's what I was doing to him. He said, really? I said, yeah. I said, I had no idea that people were paying $2,100 and $2,200, $2,300, $2,400 in rent. And he was like, oh yeah, honey. You know, he was gay. So he was like, oh yeah, honey. It is expensive. And I'm like, you ain't lying. God damn. He has a roommate though. So they split, you know, the utilities, the rent, all of that. They split it down the middle. So he said, of course their utilities are not that high. And he was like, we don't have cable. But I was just like, and I told him, I said, well, $2,100 for two people, that's not bad. But $2,100 in an apartment for one person? Because I personally feel like my mortgage is too high. Really and truly. When I started looking for a house, I had no idea that that's how much I was going to pay. I thought, because I had heard other people say, oh, I only pay $800, $900. And I was like, oh, I can do that, because I was paying $700 in the apartment. Let me tell y'all, $700 and $2,100 is a whole big jump in the can, I was just thinking about it the other day. I said, if I was still in that apartment, I was like, I wouldn't be struggling. I would have more money, blah, 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 blah. I have never been this far down. Well, I have, but I haven't been this far down the rabbit hole in a long time. And now, praise God, y'all, I'm done with the repayment of the mortgage. That month of May mortgage that I couldn't pay because of the transmission going out. It was from June to September. I am done. So now my mortgage is back to the $2,100, $2,110.97 instead of $2,638.97. And even with it still being $2,110, that's a lot. Not to mention the utilities, my gas, and I got that gas bill. I wish I had enough money to just pay that amount of that gas bill just completely off. I need to win the lottery so I can just pay just pay it off and just start all over again. My gas bill, because it came from that other address, is still extremely high. And then let me tell you what these petty motherfuckers did. So I paid $186 on that payment plan that I was on for that $2,000, right? Well, I didn't pay it when I was supposed to pay it because they give you a 4-day grace period, 5-day grace period. So what I had to do was I paid it. And when I paid it, when the app to pay it, they were acting like, oh, it's like they kicked me off. And I was like, you got to be kidding me. It ain't even been a week. I I don't know what happened. So I called them, and the guy said, well, we can put you in a new payment plan, but the down payment is $300. I said, well, I already paid $186 the day before yesterday. He said, yeah, I see it. I see it in here. Now, when I pay my mortgage, my utilities, I have everything. I don't pay on my debit card. I have everything come directly from my checking account. So if anything happened with my debit card, my mortgage can never say that they didn't get it because it came off my debit card. No, it comes directly out of my bank, from my bank. I set it up that way. I set it up that way with my utilities. Because, see, I can't be, I got to have somewhere to live. I can't be without light and gas. Those things I can't be without. Cable, that might get cut off. Real talk. It might get cut off. That's something I can watch Netflix, YouTube, Roku TV. I got all of that. So if the cable do get cut off, which I plan to pay it before I leave, but, and I'm thinking about getting rid of it anyway, but I got to pay this bill off before I get rid of it. However, if it gets cut off, it just get cut off. I stayed in my apartment almost 2 years without no TV. No TV. TV never was on because I didn't have no cable. And so I had my phone, and I looked at everything on my phone. And then my programs, whatever they were, I did this for a long time. And then I went on and I got cable. And my issue with cable is I'm going to get rid of it because I found out that I can get something else on my TV that is a lot less than cable. And I'm going to get rid of this shit because I'm sick of cable. I need a stronger Wi-Fi that I need. But I'm getting rid of cable. But anyway, so I set it up like that because I'm not going to take a chance on my utilities and my mortgage, right? So anyway, he says, well, yeah, I see you what you paid or whatever. He was like, but you got to pay $113 in order to is that my friend? Hold on, I think that's my friend. Yeah, that's my friend. Hey. He said you already paid $100. So anyway, the other day I called because I go on the app, right, and I'm looking, and I'm like, okay, wait a minute. I'm like, this don't make sense. It's still showing that the bill is this $2,000. It ain't went down none. And I'm like, what's going on? Well, it went down, but it wasn't showing that I was on the payment plan. So I called. So he said, I see you paid the $113, whatever the cent was. I see you paid the $186. He said, so it's the down payment was $300 that you had to pay. I said, so he says, so you got to pay $300. I said, whoa. I said, I got to pay an additional $300 and I just paid $186 and $130. I said, so I'm like on my phone, like, this can't be. And then he goes, no. You already paid it, but you owe us 3 cents. I said, wait a minute. I owe y'all 3 cents. I said, why y'all didn't just tell me that when I called to set this up? If the 186 and the 113 was going towards that 300 down payment, why y'all just didn't tell me on the phone when I called that I owed y'all 3 cents? How fucking petty are y'all? He goes, yeah, you owe us 3 cents. I said, sir. I said, so do you really think I'm going to pay you all 3 cents? I said this, and so he said, go in the app, go to something payment, where you can pay a different amount or whatever. He said, I said, it won't even take 3 cents. I said, I can't even put that in here in the little box. He said, well, can you send like $1 or $2? I said, I'm going to ask you this again. When I called last Friday, why didn't you all tell me to pay that whole amount so it would have equaled up to that 3 cents? I said, I'm just asking. Oh, ma'am, well, ma'am, I don't know. I don't know who took your call. And I said, okay. I said, but do you understand what I'm saying? He said, yes, I do. I said, because if I owed you 3 cents, if I owe you 3 cents today, I owed you 3 cents last Friday. So why didn't y'all tell me it's 100 and whatever the 3 cents was? And then I would have been done. I need to win some money. I need to win some money. Some big money. Like, I need to win like 20,000. Seriously. Just to pay this bed off, this wash and dryer, just to pay this gas bill, just to have some money. I need to win like 20,000 for real. I was so fit to be tired. I was like, I cannot believe y'all. I cannot. Now, ComEd, same thing. They sent me a letter telling me that because I had missed the payment. Oh, and that's another thing too. The vet billing, that $207 for when I pay for the cat, that bill. Next week, October 10th, done. Done. They got to pay that no more. So with that money, I plan to start, the plan is I'm going to start saving for Chris prom. Just putting a little bit away. That's the plan. So anyway, so ComEd sends me this letter saying, because I had missed the payment, that for a reinstatement fee or whatever, they're going to charge now on top of the bill $95. So it's like no matter what you do, every time you feel like you getting out of the rabbit hole, you back in the rabbit hole. You know what I'm saying? And my ComEd bill is high. But also, ComEd went up this summer, too. So what people were paying, you're paying an extra $100. I have Central Air. My mother doesn't have Central Air. Her bill and my bill are the same bill. I said, why is your bill more? Why is your bill the same as mine? I said, your bill should be less. But she got this huge, not huge, but she got a big air conditioner in her den. And, and we had an extremely hot summer. And we still having warm weather. We're in October, and we still having warm weather. So people are still running their air conditioners. It has not got cool here in Chicago. It's still warm. It's going to be 90 Saturday. You think I'm not going to turn no air on? I ain't going to be hot, and I ain't going to be cold. There's 3 things I'm going to have. A place to live, heat, air, and food. I may not have a lot of money. I may not be able to go get my hair done. I may not be able to go get my nails and feet done. I may not be able to go shopping. But them 4 things right there, if I got to be in my house and just sit and watch Netflix all day or whatever, and the 5th thing I'm going to have is some gas in my car to get me back and forth to work and get my fat ass somewhere where I can get me something to eat. I'm not going without them things. I'm just not. I'm not going to be in the house talking about, oh, my gas bill too high. Oh, I'm freezing. Chris, put on your second pair of jogging pants. I'm not living like that. I'm not. You will get what you gonna get when you gonna get it. But I am not gonna live like that. And I know a lot of people who do that. They penny pinch. And I'm not saying it's nothing wrong with being frugal at some periods in time, and cutting back on maybe, not going to Starbucks as much, maybe not eating out as much, maybe not, going to the movies as much, or this, that, and the other. I get it. I do. I get it. And I'm not saying that you shouldn't be frugal. But one thing I ain't finna be frugal on, I ain't finna be frugal on my health. I'm not finna sit here and suffer and be in pain and say I'm not going to the ER because I don't want to pay that $200. Hey, y'all could come in here and ask me, oh, Miss Cotton, were you planning on taking care of this today? I sure am not. I'm not. Okay, man, well, we just had to ask. Okay, thank you for asking. How you doing? How your mama doing? I'm not going to let my kids suffer. When I took Christopher to get a flu shot the other night, the nurse asked me, was I on aid? She said because she saw something in my insurance that looked like I was on public aid. I said, girl, I wish. She was cracking up. I said, no, I have private insurance. And right now, the government is shut down because of that very thing. Because they want to raise the premiums on insurance. As if we can pay anything more. So that means that if if 150 is coming out for you and a family, you're going to be paying that 3 times. So what's going to be coming out of your check for your insurance, if you pay 150, it's going to be like 300. And people, even I was hearing somebody commentary on MSNBC yesterday. I can't think of her name. She has a bald head. She's a black lady, black woman. And she was saying even the people who make good money are not going to be able to afford to pay those insurance premiums. Everybody in America, unless you are a billionaire like Donald Trump and all of his folk that he look out for, everybody in America is suffering. And I'm not saying everybody is not broke and everybody's not suffering, but what I mean is that it's a lot of people in the world that is just barely making it, and they make good money. And it's because of the high taxes. It's because of the groceries. And now they want to hit our insurance. So the government right now is in the process of shutting down. I think they've already done it. And so this means that those of us that are getting ready to travel, me included, who got to go through TSA, them people ain't coming to work. Them people ain't coming to work. You don't pay them, they ain't coming. So this is where we are. And like I said, and it just keeps getting worse and worse and worse. It just keeps getting worse. And I just don't understand how they expect people to be able to live. Seriously. So that's what we up against now. So like I said, if you paying $150 in insurance, you're getting ready to pay about $300. Like I said, I don't understand how they think people gonna be able to keep living like this. And thank God that this shutdown, I don't believe that this shutdown is going to affect anybody that gets Social Security, but it's going to affect the TSA people, the federal workers. They still expect them to come to work and they not get paid. So how are they supposed to pay their rent, their mortgage, their bills? And how many people have $20,000-$40,000 in the bank saved where they can take that money if they don't get paid, and they can pay their mortgage, or they can pay their rent, or their utilities, or groceries, or whatever. I don't understand. The richest country, we don't even have adequate health care. I just can't believe we in a shutdown because of the fact that they want to raise our insurance premiums. I'm telling y'all, I'm just going to say this one more time to you all. You all may understand it or you may not. I don't get what's the purpose of life sometimes. I'm very discouraged because it just seems like we're just here to suffer. It's just like we're here to suffer. I get that we're going to have trials and tribulations, but why these kind of trials and tribulations? Why is we don't have enough of anything? You can't really even enjoy your life to the fullest if you ain't got no money. If you struggling, you got people that are married, husband and wife, and they struggling. 2 incomes. Now think about it. I got 1 income. And yeah, I make over $100,000 a year. I do. It look good on paper. But when you start dissecting it of what it really is and how much I'm paying out on this, that, and the other, it don't add up. It just don't add up. And I just don't understand. Why are we here? Why are we here? Why are we on earth? To do what? To struggle, to pay bills, to keep being behind, trying to catch up, stressed out, don't know, oh, what am I going to do? What am I going to do? What am I going to do about this? What am I going to do about that? Child care is high. I mean, it just never fucking ends. Never. I was talking to somebody. I didn't agree with this, but I understood it. I understood it, but I don't agree with it. I was talking to somebody, and he said, I'm not going to say who it is, but I was talking to somebody, and they said, I don't believe in God anymore. This person said, I used to, but I don't anymore. And I found that to be quite disturbing. And I said, what do you mean you don't believe in God anymore? And this person said, I don't believe in God anymore because it's too many things. It's too many things that go on or that's happening that I find, he said that I find that, I don't remember how he explained, but basically what he was saying was that he don't believe in God no more because his life is always a struggle. He said, what kind of God would let you just continue to struggle? He said, everything here is a struggle. Everything. He said, even when you're not trying, or you're not doing anything to cause it. He said a lot of things we do cause ourselves. He said that's a fact. He said, but why? He said, why is all these people dying of cancer? And I think how we got on the subject of that, I was telling him how my girlfriend's daughter, you know, she was very young, in her 30s, she died of cancer. He said, why? And my answer to him was simply this. I said, I have a lot of why questions too. I said, but I'm going to say this to you. You saying that you don't believe in God anymore. You don't believe, if you don't believe in him anymore. I said, you know, Jesus could ask the same question to his Father. Why? Why you have me die on the cross for these people's sins who don't even love me? Why you have me die for these people who don't even give me the acknowledgement, who rather worship everything and everybody else, and not just Satan, but they worship their cars, they worship their homes, they worship their man or their woman or their children or their job, but yet they never look to me. Why you have me die on that cross? Why you make me go through all of that unnecessary torture and pain for these people? For these people that are not obedient. For these people that no matter what I do for them, they never say, thank you, God. They never give me no type of praise. Why you have me do this? I'm just imagining and just saying, I wonder, do God ever say that? Why you have me do this? Because these some ungrateful, non-thank you type of people down here on this earth. My point is that life is tough. It is, no doubt. It's tough. And we have no control over it. We have no control over it. Life is tough. It's always an issue. It's always a problem. It's always something you got to work out. You got to handle. You got to do. Always. But you can't give up. You can't give up. What you got to do is take a break. What you got to do is get rid of people that is causing you stress. What you got to do is love yourself. What you got to do is love God. What you got to do is pray. What you got to do is have faith. What you got to do is say, God, I don't know. I don't understand. I don't know what you're doing or how you're doing it, but I'm going to trust you. And the reason why Jesus hung on that cross and died the way that he died was because he trusted God. Wasn't that he wanted to do it? Because he says on the cross, why have thou forsaken me? He didn't want to do it. He didn't want to do it. He didn't want to do it. But he trusted the God that he knew loved him. He trusted him. So what I'm going to say to you is that even when you perplexed or you don't know, and I feel how you feel, I do. Because I know a lot of you all feel how I feel. Some of you all even feel different ways. But even with that, you got to trust God. So what I said to this person was, I said, well, you know what? I said, I cannot put my trust in man. Because man has showed me what he thought about me. I said, man has shown me that I mean nothing. I said, so I don't have nobody else but God to lean on and to trust. So I get it that you feel defeated. I get it that you feel like God has left you. I get it that you feel like I'm just tired of struggling. I'm just tired of everything being so hard in my life. I get it. I get it. Because what I just said about why are we here? Because it just seemed like it's always a struggle. And I do really feel that way. Because I'm like, why are we because you happy for a minute because of something that's happening to you, and then here comes something else. Here comes something else. But even in the midst of that something else, it is so many mosquitoes over here because we by this river. So many mosquitoes. But even in the midst of that something else that keeps coming, keep coming, just all the time, you still have to know that there's a God that still loves you. In spite of what you may feel, in spite of what you may think, in spite of what's happening with you or around you, he still loves us. And he's the only one that will never leave nor forsake us. Everybody else will. Everybody else will. Whether they leave you voluntarily or not, whether it be because they walked away or walked out of your life, or whether it be that they died, whether it be through death. But everybody is going to experience somebody leaving them. And it's painful. It is. It's painful. But God will never leave you, nor will he forsake you. And I could give up, and I could say, oh, I don't believe that there's a God. I could say, I'm not serving God no more because look at this and look at that and look at the struggles that I've had. But God had a bigger suffering than I'll ever have. And when I think about my life and think about why I'm here, or think about my purpose or my journey, I haven't figured all of that out. But what I have figured out is that no matter what happens to me, or no matter what people do to me or try to do to me, I'm going to stick with God. Because he's the one person that has showed up and been on time every time. He's the only one. Everybody else has failed me in some shape, form, or fashion. Whether they were doing it knowingly or unknowingly, was it intentional or unintentional or unintentional, but they have. They have. And I don't necessarily fault everybody or every person who has, because they're human like I am, and we all fall short and we all miss the mark. But God never does. He has sent people in my life that's been good to me and for me. And yeah, yesterday I was feeling some type of way because one of my friends was telling me about my ex-friend, something about him. And it made me feel some type of way. And I said, it's okay. I was saying it to myself. It's okay to feel how you feel. It's okay. Because your feelings are valid. This was a person that you cared about. This is a person that you had feelings for. This is a person that you wanted friendship and love from, whether it was romantic or not. This is somebody that you were sharing your body with or whatever. So it's okay to feel how you feel. It's okay to feel slighted. It's okay to, when you hear something about him, that it makes you feel the way that you feel. And it actually pissed me off to be, I wasn't pissed off at the person. It pissed me off about him. But I'm just going to say this. Sometimes we do things and we get involved in things because we like what we like and we want to see what it's like. But sometimes we need to take a step back and really think about, should I really get myself into this? Because what's going to be the outcome of this in the next 6 months? What's going to happen? And that's how I feel about this job. Like, do I really want this? Because what is this going to be like in the next 6 months for me? It's all goody now. But what is it going to be like 6 months from now? And that's how you have to think about things that you have some control over. People, places, situations. Some things we don't have no control over. What's going to happen is going to happen. But when I think back to him, I said to myself, and I say it to myself, I say it to myself and have said it to myself a few times. You knew better. He showed you who he was 14 years ago. You knew better. You knew better. I don't care what y'all had in high school. That was high school. When you all became adults, he showed you. He showed you. He showed you. And yeah, it was 14, 15, 16 years ago. And, yeah, people change and people mature. And he apologized. But you knew better. You knew better. Because you could have avoided all of what you feeling if you had just told him no. And then he had the nerve to make this comment to me. I think sex ruined our friendship. No. Because we loved the sex. We enjoyed the sex. So it wasn't the sex. It was you. It was you. You ruined it. You. And I wasn't going to let him get away with that because that's what people want to say. No. You did that. You did that. All by yourself. You did that. So some things we do know better. Some things we do know. And we should not get involved, or we shouldn't we shouldn't get involved with certain people. We shouldn't get ourselves in certain situations. So you got to think. You got to really think, because you know better. See, and I'm not one of these people that want to say, oh, when you know better, you do better. No, you know better. You know better. But we do what we want to do, and then we want to say, oh, God, why? God, it had nothing to do with that. That was all you. And I'm going to say this. A lot of the situations and relationships that I've been in with men, was my own choice. My own choice. Because what? I knew better. I knew better. But you know, when you young or when you're not young, and when you feel like, oh, I don't want to be lonely. I don't want to be lonely. I don't want to be lonely. I don't want to be by myself. Then you end up settling. And ladies and gentlemen, you better go find you something to do than do something with somebody that ain't for you. Because you're going to pay the price later. Because you know better. And you can't blame that on God. And you can't cry to God and say, God, why? You should have been asking God why before you did it. Just keeping it 100. Just keeping it a buck. With that being said, please post your throwback pictures on my community page today. And it don't have to be a throwback picture. And if you don't want to post a throwback picture on my community page, you can put a throwback memory in the comment section. Okay? But I want you to have a good, blessed day. Have a wonderful day. And guess what? Tomorrow we're going to party. You know why? Because it's going to be Friday. All right, y'all. Have a good day. Peace and blessings. And I did wear this shirt today. I wear this quite often. Let me show you what my shirt says. I am not the biggest person. I suggest you leave me alone. Because I truly am not the big person. I'm not. I'm trying to be, but I'm not. Anyway, y'all have a good day. Have a blessed day. I'll see you tomorrow. Okay, peace and blessings. Bye.